Hey there, welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If you are brand new to this channel, yay, you found me. I'm so glad. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both sometimes watching a movie, right? And if you're a returning subscriber, yay! And as they do in China, they go like that. That's like a little heart. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, so the movie I'm reviewing today is called The Beanie Bubble. This Apple original movie is now available to stream online on Amazon Prime Video, as well as Apple TV Plus on your Roku device. And if you don't have a Roku, click down below. I've got some coupon codes where you can save some money. I love my Roku. In fact, I have multiple units in my house for free programming. I ditched the satellite dish years ago. And so my entertainment is free or very cheap, depending on what I'm watching. All right, anyway, back to this movie. The movie is rated R and it's an hour and 50 minutes. My overall movie review mom grade is a B+. I really enjoyed this. So let me give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, interesting lines, funny lines, and recommendations for other movies that I instantly thought of as I was watching this one that I think you're also going to really like. All right, you ready to dive in? Let's go. So in a nutshell, at the very beginning of this film, we see these words on the screen, quote, "There are parts of the truth you just can't make up. The rest we did," end quote. So this is based on a true story. It's about Ty Warner and the three women that played a very important role in creating the legendary Beanie Baby explosion in the 1990s. The film was directed by Kristen Gore and Damien Kulash. Kristen Gore also wrote the story with Zach Bissonette. All right, so let me give you some tips for parents. I think generally kids are going to be bored. Especially younger kids who didn't really know or live through the Beanie Baby explosion. I think others might be interested. There is some profanity, including F-bombs, and there are unmarried people who sleep together. All right, so some of the themes that are illustrated really well are capitalism, standing up for yourself, creativity, business, and thinking outside the box. So there were a lot of things I really liked about this movie. First of all, you have never seen Zach Galifianakis like this before. He plays Ty Warner, a frustrated salesman who grew his idea into the biggest toy craze in history with the help of these three women. He was one of the executive producers of this film as well, and he did an excellent job. Others in the cast include Elizabeth Banks, who is fantastic, and Sarah Snook, who is also fantastic. And I recently did a movie review of a movie that she was in called Run, Rabbit, Run. Check out my movie review of that one. It's a very different kind of film than this one, more on the leaning towards the psychological horror genre. Anyway, also in this cast are Geraldine Viswanathan, Tracy Bonner, Carl Clemons-Hopkins, Kurt Yeager, and Rowan Delina Howard. All right, so Maya Kumar's character is actually based on Lena Trivedi in real life, who was played by Geraldine Viswanathan. The whole idea of limited editions is genius, right? And it's really fun to see how that idea came to be and how successful that idea was for the Beanie Baby company. Well, the company's not called the Beanie Babies, but you know, the toy company. Anyway, it's also really fun to hear conversations about the internet in the early days and to see these big, massive computers and, you know, how people were just amazed and dumbfounded when the internet came out. Like it blew our minds. And it still does. I'm still amazed at all of the things. I mean, I get excited about email still. Anyway, the movie has a very energetic soundtrack, and we get to see lots of clips from the 1990s that take us back in time. We learn about metrics for supply and demand, and it's fascinating to see the role that eBay also played in strategy for Thai products. It's fun reading on the screen at the end of the movie about what happened to these three women who were involved in the making and the success of the company and what they did next in their lives. So inspiring. Now, with all of that praise, there were a few things that I didn't like or just thought could have been done differently or better. For example, sadly, the timing of this corporate biopic is unfortunate as it follows a bunch of other ones like Air, Tetris, Blackberry, and Flaming Hot. This movie would have been just, I think, a big hit 5 years ago before everybody else started making all these biopics. Viewers also might get confused a little bit by the timeline that bounces back and forth. It's a creative telling of the story, but it can be very confusing and unnecessarily so. Let me know what you think about that. If you like that style where bits and pieces of the story were revealed at different times, it's not a chronological telling. The film takes a very fluffy, pun intended, look at what could have been a deeper version of a film that looks at capitalism. It's really just looking at the history. Capitalism is part of the Thai company's story, but it could have been even a little bit more edgier and, like I said, gone deeper into maybe messaging of capitalism in the American society and how it maybe differs from the rest of the world, if it does, that kind of thing. And then ultimately, the movie is not as much fun as you would think it would be, right? It's about stuffed animals, and there should be a lot more joy and fun. And there is a lot of humor, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't have something. And I'm not sure what it is that it was missing, but maybe it's because we've been inundated with all these corporate biopics. And so we're like, yeah, yeah, same old, been there, done that. So again, the timing was a little unfortunate. But while I watch movies, I'm always taking notes. And specifically, I write down funny lines and interesting lines simply so I can share them with you. So you get a taste of the dialogue and the humor and interesting lines that reveal some of the themes in the film. I have them all on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, but I'll share a couple of them with you right now. So I'll start with the funny lines. So Ty Warner is just not technically oriented at all. And so this internet becomes a thing. And so again, he's played by Zach Galifianakis. And so somebody is trying to show him, like, we can use the internet to do this and that and the other thing. And he says, we broke the entire internet thing when their website crashed because they were getting so many hits and that kind of thing. Anyway, and then Maya Kumar, who is played by, again, Geraldine Viswanathan, says, it's hard to know how to reason with delusion. And that's just because Ty Warner just had this delusion that he really was a one-man show and created this empire with no help from anyone else. Meanwhile, he's surrounded by very talented and supportive women, which is part of the story, or the main part of the story. Anyway, let me share some interesting lines with you. This is by Robbie, who's played just beautifully by Elizabeth Banks. And so she's talking about the American dream, and she says, that's the whole point of America. Work hard, build something good, get yourself in the right place at the right time, and boom. And there's a lot of truth to that. Again, timing can be everything. Another interesting line is spoken by Sarah Snook's character, and she's talking to some of these other women, and she says, it wasn't about relying on the wrong man, it was the wrong man relying on us. Because all of these women were so capable and competent and trying to help the company recover from all of the mistakes that Ty Warner was doing. Anyway, another line spoken by Geraldine Viswanathan's character said, our dysfunction is the heart of this company, definitely referring to Ty Warner especially. And then at one point, Ty Warner says, America is all about the little guy. And I like that he starts off his company as a little guy, and he really tries to hold on to that and not go really big, not go international, which of course the company ended up doing, but against his wishes. And it was interesting to see that dynamic and how all of that kind of played out. And then another line that Ty Warner says is, you have the power to create your own future. And that is such an empowering feeling and true. And the movie shows you how a simple idea can change your future, because that's what happened to him. All right, so before we go, let me give you a recommendation, actually a few recommendations for some other movies that you might also like and probably think are better than this one. The very first movie I thought of is The Social Network, which was really kind of the first of these biopic type of movies where we now enjoy these massive companies that have changed our lives. And to go back and look at the origin story of those companies is really interesting. And that is just such a great film. Another movie with an excellent performance is called The Founder, about McDonald's, and it'll make you just mad. I don't know if it'll make you stop eating McDonald's or exactly how you're going to take action on that movie, but the acting was tremendous and the story was fascinating. And then a more recent one is Steve Jobs. And they've actually done a couple different versions of the Steve Jobs story in film. And so this is just one of them. Anyway, I hope that you'll enjoy this movie if you watch it, and comment down below. Let me know if you still own any of these Beanie Babies, and if you're still holding on as an investment, or if you've since given them away or sold them or whatever you've done with them. I'd be really curious to find out. My kids had a few. We never bought them as investments. We bought them because we thought they were cute and we played with them. But I know people who bought them and put them in, glass encased boxes to protect them so they were in pristine condition and all of that. We didn't really get into any of that. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. And when you get a minute, be sure and run over to my Facebook group called Movie Review Mom, where we share lots of polls and surveys about movies and what we like and what we don't like, and funny memes about the film industry, and of course, my movie reviews. All right, have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.